Hey, boys and girls, another day, right? At least it's Wednesday. We're halfway there, okay? So today we're going to be talking about constant rate again, which is kind of like yesterday when we talked about the constant speed, all right? So today is May 6th, 2020, okay? Today we're talking about constant rate, but we can still use the idea that we talked about yesterday, which is constant equals distance over time. Okay? When we're doing these problems, a lot of the formulas can stay the same. Okay? It just depends on what the question is asking for you. Okay? So I'm going to show you number one. A train travels at a constant rate of 45 miles per hour. Right? The problem is already telling us what the constant is, okay? It's already telling us what the constant is. So that means C equals 45, okay? What is the distance, D, in miles that the train travels in T hours? So the only thing that we know of this problem is C. So from my take from this problem is that we're just creating an equation, okay, that we can solve for distance, okay? So let me plug in what I got. I got C equals 45. So I got 45, okay, equals distance over time, okay? So I gotta make an equation, okay, that I'm looking for distance. So I need D equals something, okay? And what does that mean? It means that I'm solving for D right here, okay? So that means I have to isolate D by itself. I have to get it alone, okay? And if you notice, D is being divided by T. So like we talked about yesterday, how can I undo division, right, to get rid of this T? Because I got to bring this over here. Okay, so what's the inverse of division? Of course, it's multiplication. And since I need to solve for distance, right, I want to get this time and I want to take it away. So since I have D over T, I'm going to multiply by T over 1 because, remember, when we cancel things out, right, since these are on the diagonal, they cancel out, all right? And we're just left with D over 1 times 1 over 1, okay? So remember the golden rule. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So since I multiplied this by T, I'm multiplying this also by T, okay? So this cancels out, all right? We're left with now distance. And remember, I'm just rewriting it because I know that sometimes the variable's in the front, sometimes the variable is at the end, but it really doesn't matter. It's just preference, right? So I got my D equals, all right? 45 times T. Why? What's 45 times T? If you're confused, remember there's always a hidden 1 in front, right? There's an invisible 1 always in front of our variables. So what's 45 times 1T? It's just 45T. Okay, so part A is this. D equals 45T. All right? And this is a two-part problem. So the next part says, how many miles will it travel in 2.5 hours? Okay? So let's look at our equation now. I got D equals 45T. How many miles will it travel? So that means I'm looking for D, distance. So they're telling me that I'm going 2.5, and I'm traveling in 2.5 hours, right? So what does hours stand for? It stands for time. So this is telling me T equals 2.5, right? Now that we got this, we can solve for this, right? So all you got to do is plug in the 2.5 to the T, okay? So we're left with D equals 45 times 2.5. All right, we know what to do now. We're just multiplying. So let's check it out. 45 times 25, right? 5 times 5 is 25. I'm going to have no room here, just so you know, so I'll probably continue over here. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. Let's see if I can write really small. All right, 2 times 5 is 0. Carry the 1 now, I use that. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Okay? So let's see. Well, I'm going to do my addition over here now, okay? 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 0 is 2. And 2 plus 9 is 11. Okay? So the final step is, since I have a decimal in my equation here, I have to look at how many numbers are behind the decimal. So I got one number behind the decimal point. So remember, I just start at the end. And since I have one number behind the decimal, I'm just going to move it 1. So this tells me that D equals 112.5 miles. So the train traveled 112 miles, 112.5 miles in 2.5 hours. Okay? If you have any questions, go into our Google Hangout, send me a message.